It's 6 days to the Ecobank Joy News Habitat Fair. Welcome to Joy News Prime. We're coming to you from our studios here at Koko Memena Accra. We are live on DSTV channel 421 and GoTV channel 125 and around the world on myjoyonline.com. I am Carlos Scaloni. And I am Faustina. So for tonight, former Chief Justice Gertrude Araba-Tokono is back in court seeking to block the vetting and possible appointment of Justice Bafubodi as Chief Justice. And the arraignment of former National Service Authority Director General and his deputy delayed as Gifty Owari-Mensah files a medical excuse, while CBN's lawyers are yet to be served with his charge sheet. Details more. Also tonight, Energy Minister says Ghana will save $300 million under a new IPP renegotiated deal. More suspects in the missing ECG container scandal will face prosecution as the investigative committee's report heads to the Attorney General for review. And much later, I will tell you how heavy the crown feels for Infantapin School, now burdened with the pressure of defending their long-awaited NSMQ glory. At 8 p.m., we'll bring you Prime Business.
International Monetary Fund urges Ghana to be strategic and tactful over attempts to intervene in the market.
Grateful for your time. Now, the courtroom drama deepened today as the arraignment of former National Service Authority Director General Osei Asibientwi and his deputy Gifty Owari-Mensah was delayed over separate procedural hurdles. Lawyers for Mr. Asibientwi told the High Court their client was in Kumasi responding to police investigators, while Ms. Owari-Mensah presented a 2-day medical excuse duty. Both former officials have faced charges of allegedly masterminding separate schemes that siphoned public funds through ghost personnel and fraudulent loans. Kweku Asante has more in the following report.
It's been a busy day in court for cases under government's Operation Recover All Loot. Two very high-profile cases that the state has filed against erstwhile NPP government officials have come before the court today, either for arraignment or for continuation of the trial. Let's start from the case involving the former National Signals Bureau boss, Kwabena Edubuahin. Lawyers for Kwabena Edubuahin had made the argument that they needed some disclosures in their bid to defend their client. The judge had dismissed that application, and Samuel Atachian, the lead lawyer for Kwabena Edubuahin, had said he was filing an appeal at the Court of Appeal. He therefore made an application for stay of proceedings pending the determination of the appeal they had filed at the Court of Appeal. This morning, Justice Nyante, presiding over the trial, dismissed that application for stay of proceedings. The stay of proceedings, which is largely an application for the court to put on hold the trial until the full determination of whatever matters that have been put before a court above the High Court. The Deputy Attorney General formally informed the court that they were discharging the third accused person in the trial, Mildred Donko. As we know now, Mildred Donko is now becoming a prosecution witness, and so today they took the steps by formally informing the court of that decision. But whilst the Deputy Attorney General was in the process of informing the court about this, the lawyer for Kwabena Edubuahin, Samuel Atacha, was on his feet with an objection. He said, in his view, the Deputy Attorney General and the state must have come by way of motion to inform the court of the decision. But the state disagreed. They said that if they came by way of motion, that would have meant that the court would have to take a decision. But when it comes to matters of discharge, it is the prerogative of the state to discharge persons that he has put before court. Ultimately, Justice Nyante again disagreed with the objection that had been raised by lawyer for Kwabena Edubuahin, Samuel Atacha, and dismissed that objection. And ultimately, the third accused person has now been discharged and has now formally become a prosecution witness. Here is what lawyer Agric told journalists after that.
There are also other charges relating to the crime of stealing. And if you see, my client was not mentioned as being part of the crime of stealing. Her name only appears in count, I think 11 or 12 or so. 10, 11, yes. So it's pretty clear that in terms of the formation of whatever has gone wrong, she was not part of that conclave, to decide on anything, So that's all I'll say.
Still in the High Court, two other cases that has caught the attention of the country is the case involving stealing and causing financial loss to the state that has been filed against former National Service Authority Director General and his deputy. In a case involving the Director General himself, Mr. Osei Sibe, the case could not happen, and today we expected an arraignment, a formal arraignment, with the plea of Mr. Osei Sibe to be taken, but he was not in court. And as his lawyer who came to court in an African print, obviously rushing in after hearing that the case was to be called, was that Mr. Osei Sibe had reported to investigators in Kumasi as has been directed and consequently could not be in court. And also, the charge sheet had not been served on them. The judge presiding over the trial consequently directed that the charge sheet be served together with hearing notices for the case to be recalled at a later date. Regarding the case involving Gift Yowari Mensah, she was also not in court. We understand she has brought before the court a 2-day medical excuse duty note that she is not very well at the moment and is unable to come to court, which means the formal arraignment for her plea to be taken cannot happen. And that case has also been adjourned to a later date. Reporting for Joy News, Kweku Asante, High Court Complex, Accra.
Well, let's bring in Martin Kpebu, who is a private legal practitioner. Grateful for your time. From a legal perspective, could these delays be a deliberate tactic by the defense?
Wow. In the absence of further evidence, I'm not able to say it's deliberate. So it means that we have to interrogate the reasons they've given. If we are not able to interrogate that, we have to accept them. That's one. Gift Yowari has a medical excuse duty. So until it has been interrogated, we have to accept that she's truly not well. Then to Osei Sibe entry also says the investigators had asked him to report. That one, to be honest, considering the authority of the court and the investigators and the public service hierarchy of doing things, I think a court of law takes precedence over a meeting with investigators. Yes, that one. So I think I would reverse a bit and change my analysis. Generally, a court of law, an invitation from a court of law takes precedence, except that the other thing is this. They're saying that they were not served with their papers. So if they were not served, then at what point did it come to the attention of, is it the lawyer who came in there? So it looks a bit fishy. You say you've not been served. So at what point did you hear that the case was on? Okay.
Right.
Well, so in any event, today is not the end of the world. The next day would come. So perhaps we can leave it at that.
But what does today's adjournment actually mean for the progress of this particular case or these cases we're talking about?
Oh, I believe that it shouldn't cause too much of a problem because the court can always make up. The Domlevo has been leading charges for a new law so that we put firm timelines. Let's say if a criminal case starts, we must end in, say, 1 year, etc. So I believe that with today's sitting being lost, the judge can make up. We can ask for daily hearings of the case, like the Jachi Kwesin case, and then NAM 1. I think NAM 1, such an order was made. It doesn't appear it was followed to the letter, okay? But you see Jachi Kwesin's case, the trial judge at the time made an order that, yes, the case will be heard on daily basis based on the application by the Attorney General. So that's the right way to go. Citizens must get involved. Citizens must continue asking questions of the judiciary so that we will get daily trials of these cases so that they can move fast. Yes, if let's say we're doing about at least 2 hours of daily. 2 hours is reasonable. The reason I'm not saying 3 hours is that from experience in the coup plotters case, yeah, we're doing about 3 sittings a week and 3 hours a day. It took quite a toll on us because you see, even though you hear a lot of lawyers being graduated, it takes time for lawyers to gain experience, etc. So in short, there are not enough lawyers in Ghana, right? So if you made it too onerous, the lawyers will not be able to cope health-wise. Maybe now that we've graduated a lot of lawyers in the last few years, give about 4 or 5 years for them to gain more experience. Then we can begin to tighten the laws on the in terms of the number of hours a day. But for now, I strongly back Yao Domlevo, former Auditor General's call that, look, we should quickly hurry up with a law to ensure that these cases are head on. I mean, we should have a definite timeline that, look, this case, when it goes to court today, 17th October, then it means that 17th October 2026, the case must come to an end.
All right.
Like it's done in other countries, the US, for instance.
Councillor, thank you so much for those analysis.
Let's stay a bit longer in the court because the former Chief Justice, Gertrude Araba-Tokonu, has filed a lawsuit to block her would-be successor, Justice Bafo-Boni, from taking the reins as Chief Justice. The former Chief Justice was removed from office on September 5 after a 5-member committee found her guilty of stated misbehavior and recommended her removal as head of the judiciary. In a 278-page document filed at the High Court, Gertrude Araba-Tokonu says the committee's findings were arbitrary and unconstitutional and same must be quashed. The ultimate aim of this suit is to reinstate her as Chief Justice. One member of our Legal Affairs desk, Kweku Asante, has been poring over the document. He joins me in the studio with details. Kweku, let's start with the relief she's seeking in court.
Well, 5 main reliefs. The one says he wants to quash the proceedings of the Justice Permanent Committee. The 2, he wants to quash again the President's warrant that took her away from the Supreme Court and also as Chief Justice. And then she wants to quash the presidential warrant and the letter from the secretary, all of which informed her that she's no longer the Chief Justice. Ultimately, she wants a prohibition of any appointment of any person whatsoever to become her successor. And so Justice Bafo-Boni, who is set to be named in Parliament as the next Chief Justice, according to this suit that former Chief Justice has filed, she should not be vetted and the process should not continue.
Well, let's get into the grounds for which she's anchoring these reliefs on. What exactly is she saying?
Generally, the Chief Justice, the former Chief Justice, again takes the position that the grounds that were canvassed by the Permanent Committee in taking her out as Chief Justice were not properly founded in law. She contends that those are illegal, unconstitutional, they were arbitrary, they were unfair, they were unreasonable. A lot of adjectives in this suit. She talks again about the fact that they breach the Wednesbury principle of reasonableness. Then she gets into the substantive of some of the grounds that were canvassed by the Justice Permanent Committee, talking about what she believes to be the unfairness and the unreasonableness, ultimately in the decisions that were made by the committee when it came to the 5 grounds that were done. And then the Chief Justice is saying that the former Chief Justice again, Madam Tokonu, says she wants an order that will prohibit the denial of her benefits. She wants to still get a salary, entitlements, and other things that came with the Chief Justice's office. Faustina and Carlos.
And has she filed an injunction in court?
Well, we understand the Chief Justice may be doing so, but the former Chief Justice may be doing so, but that hasn't happened yet.
Okay.
And so what Chief Justice has is an injunctive relief as part of the injunction she's filed for. And then ultimately, perhaps Parliament is coming on Tuesday. She may be forced to file a specific one and ask the court to hear it expeditiously.
Thank you so much, Kweku Asante. Well, let me bring in the former director of the Ghana School of Law, Kweku Asare. We appreciate your time here on Joy News Prime. Now, let's start with where she's actually seeking this relief from, the High Court. Do they even have jurisdiction to hear this matter?
Good evening. Thank you. No, the High Court doesn't have jurisdiction. The High Court is established under the 1992 Constitution, and the jurisdiction it has clearly been spelled out, and it doesn't include what she's asking for.
Let's look at some of the key concerns she's raising. She's disputing the whole report put out by Justice Poamang that led to her removal as Chief Justice. She states in that long writ that it is false, it is misleading and perverse. From where you sit, I'm sure you've been going through this document, over 278 pages long. What's your initial readings into this case that she's filing at the court?
The matter is spent. In our legal language, say it is spent. Is being tried to completion. The president has accepted the findings and recommendations, has made a final decision on it. And once that final decision has been made, it cannot be challenged. And therefore, it doesn't matter the quantity of paragraphs that one can place on pieces of paper. It can be 1 million. If there's no substance, it will still be lacking in merit, and it lacks in merit. And I don't think the state has to waste resources, on this rather frivolous and vexatious application.
To get all her entitlements, is that even possible?
No, as for her entitlement, my dear sister, I think humility. She must eat a humble pie, approach the president like a daughter, of the, because the president is our father, and try to, solicit some assistance. This abrasive posture do not take, the matter closed. The chapter is closed. Now, no court under the Constitution, because this is the court features statutes and the Constitution, what they can do and what they cannot do is clearly spelled out in the Constitution. Where is it in the Constitution that the High Court can entertain an application arising from the determination of a petition for the removal from a CG? Okay. Where? There's no such thing in the Constitution. So what he is doing now is, rather abusing the judicial process, forum shopping, but there's no shop.
Thank you so much, Kwekwasa Asare, former director of the Ghana School of Law, for your time here on Joy News Prime.
Now let's shift our attention to the power sector, because the Energy and Green Transition Minister John Abdullahi Jinapor says the Attorney General is reviewing the report on the missing ECG containers. He assures that anyone found culpable will face prosecution to protect the public purse. The committee's findings traced over 2,600 containers, with 1,500 already cleared from the port. Fatal Bayaga report.
As part of his working visit to the Electricity Company of Ghana, his first since assuming duty as Energy Minister, John Abdullahi Jinapor engaged the company's officials on its challenges and the way forward. Speaking during the engagement, the minister said protecting state resources remains a top priority, warning that anyone involved in the scandal will face the full rigors of the law.
We've handed the full document to the Attorney General. He's studying it. And if people are found culpable, I'm very confident that the law will take its course. We are not victimizing anybody. We are doing what is right and what is proper. The taxpayers' money must be accounted for.
Mr. Jinapor also sounded a strong caution to the current management to desist from repeating such a transaction.
And I encourage management, never should we go that path. Never. We shouldn't have been there. I mean, if ECG was your company and you were the shareholder and you invested money in it, and your management came to tell you that they've awarded contracts about 9 billion when the board approved contracts for just about 3 billion. And you can check from the records.
For the current ECG Managing Director, Engineer Julius Kwekpena, he says that the company is making significant strides.
With the support we have received from the government and from you personally, and with God's grace, we've made some progress over the past few months. Since assuming office, our efforts has focused on restoring system reliability, improving revenue mobilization, and consequently, cash flow to power generators.
The minister also held discussions with officials of the Volta River Authority, stating that the huge sums spent on IPPs over the years could have been used to expand VRA's generation capacity by investing directly in plants, enabling Ghana to produce and sell power at a cheaper rate.
We're talking of about 70 million every month, US dollars. That is on the back of the envelope 700, 140, $840 million every year, not cedis, times the number of years the IPPs have been operating. Don't you think that if we had escrowed this money, we could have built more thermal plants with VRA and sell the power at a cheaper price?
The Chief Executive Officer of the authority, Edward Eko Obin-Kanzo, says the company is working tirelessly to ensure reliable power supply, but to continue doing so, it needs support.
We also will ask that you support us to also increase our portfolio as the demand of the country increases, so that we may at least have about 75 to 85% of the stock capacity of this country to continue to support the economy of this country and also to ensure we have a reliable power for the country.
For Joy News, Fatao Bayaga, Accra.
Now, some commuters on the Sola Damango-Fufoso Junction Road are lamenting the deplorable state of the highway. They say the worsening condition is hurting livelihoods, increasing travel time and raising vehicle maintenance costs. The chief of Sola has appealed to the government to expedite repair under the Big Push road agenda. Join us to Rafiq Salam report.
Following the collapse of the Dole Bridge close to Bole on the Sola-Bole-Bomboy Highway, otherwise known as N12, in the Savannah region 2 years ago, traffic on the Fufoso Damango-Sola Road increased, putting enormous pressure on it. Even when it was fixed, commuters heading from the Upper West region and some parts of the Solotuna-Calabar district still found the Fufoso Damango-Sola Road more convenient to use, traveling to the southern Gulf of the country. Mind you, the detour from the Sola route through the Damango-Fufoso Junction to Bono and Asante regions has over 150 added kilometers and increased travel time of more than 2 hours. From the start, it was better. As the months rolled by, it has now worsened as a result of the huge traffic from heavy trucks, particularly haulage trucks. On a daily basis, vehicles, particularly commercial buses, get stuck and passengers stranded for several hours.
It's really that in here at the Sola Damango Road. The road is in deplorable shape. It's bumpy with a lot of gaping manholes.
I bumped into Sola Wura Abdullahi Idrisu, who was returning to Sola from a meeting at Damango. He lamented about the poor state of the road, urging the government to come to the aid of the people.
I'm just appealing to the government to fast-track the rehabilitation of the road, to make the cars moving to from our various communities, to make transportation very easy for us.
In an exclusive interview with Savannah Regional Minister Sarasubi Awurubi assured the people that the road will be given a facelift to the status of an asphalted overlay.
No, Maripoma Engineering Limited, called Mel, you can see that he has even set up a quarry on the Trona Road. He is the one who has been given that contract. The same Maripoma is as well giving the contract of Solar through to Damango to Fufoso Junction.
Whilst commuters wait for that to happen, they will continue to drive on the deplorable, scary gaping manhole-riddled road in pain and frustration. They have only one prayer: fix it the shortest possible time. Reporting for Joy News, Rafik Salam, Kambampi.
Let's head back to the capital now. Scores of parents and students say they are yet to secure placement for the awards. Many of them trooped to the SHS placement resolution centers yesterday in search of answers as the portal closed yesterday, while others are struggling to change schools due to proximity and financial constraints. Joy News' Stephen Mensah spoke to some who shed more light on their frustration.
The admission process, which started in September, was expected to address challenges with the junior senior high school placement. However, with barely 24 hours to go before Form 1 students officially report to school, the situation tells a different story. Many parents and students who thronged the GES Resolution Center today say they remain without answers.
I came here around 3:30 just to come and then find a placement for my ward. But as of now, nobody is attending to us. They told me we should fill the form. I've done that. They asked me to go home for 2 weeks to come for, or the message will come to my phone that they've given me a placement. But only that I can only hear today that they've cancelled the earlier placement we did. So we had to restart all over again.
They are supposed to report that's tomorrow for borders, and I'm sure by Monday these students are also supposed to report. So this is a case whereby if they are to be placed today, we don't even know the time with which the schools will be coming in.
For some families, the frustration stems from the fact that their wards had excellent grades but still missed out on their preferred schools. Others say the schools they were placed in are too far from home, making it financially and logistically difficult to attend.
My son got 10, as you can see, but first choice no, second choice no, up to the 7th school. They rather gave him a day school at somewhere.
They gave her a day, and moreover to the place where we are, the place that the school is too far. She can go from Maya to East Legon. When you get to East Legon, you're supposed to take her to Opportunity. It's too far.
But Deputy Coordinator for the Free Senior High School Program, Dr. Belinda Glover, insists that all valid placement concerns will be resolved.
Some of them too, that's to do with just a simple IT issue. They have had a school or they've gone to the school, but they can't just go and then follow the process and confirm. So they'll come back here. So when we get to know, we just help them to address it. So we are very sure and we are very confident that we'll be able to address all of them. As you can see, the numbers are not so large.
Reporting from the NATHO, the Resolution Center here in Accra, I am Stephen Mensah.
Well, we'll tell you how heavy the crown feels for Infantapin School and the burden with the pressure of defending their long-awaited NSMQ glory when we return. Stay with us. Welcome back, and thank you so much for staying with us.
To other stories now, the Minerals Development Fund is taking a firm stance against illegal mining activities that threaten the integrity of school compounds and disrupt educational mining in communities. Following a recent invasion of a nursing training college by Galamsey operators, MDF Administrator Dr. Hannah Louisa Bisukote has assured that the fund is poised to tackle the menace head-on. Nana Ojima has more in the following report.
In July this year, the Minerals Development Fund moved to halt illegal mining activities around the Atetem Basic School in the Ashanti region. The school was sandwiched by illegal mining activities, a situation that affected teaching and learning. According to teachers and students, the sound of excavators at work heavily affected learning activities. My name is Abena Yeboah. We are very worried about the education of our wards. Elders in our village and the unit committee have complained about the distraction, but they wouldn't listen. The former MP, Katie Hammond, asked them to stop, but they wouldn't. With this intervention, the MDF indicates that Similar concerns have been received. Administrator of the Minerals Development Fund, Dr. Hannah Louisa Bisiu-Kotei, indicates measures are being taken to save a nursing training college affected by illegal mining.
We are not against mining, but we are against anybody who takes over the schools of the children and mine in the compound. There's some nursing school right now somewhere that we've been told the compound has been taken over. That is not right. And so these schools that have come to attention, we are working on putting them back to shape, and we are also talking to some, to the Chamber of Mines, to see how best they can also support us with some of the mining companies, so that we'll be able to, put up some new schools and some of these interventions.
For Joy News, Nana Ojima, Kumasi.
Well, Ghanaian healthcare professionals, particularly nurses, are set to benefit from new employment opportunities in Grenada, following the signing of a memorandum of understanding between the two countries. The agreement was finalized Friday during the official visit of Grenada's Prime Minister, Dekan Michel, who was received by President John Mahama at the Jubilee House for bilateral discussion and a state luncheon. President Mahama said both countries are committed to exploring collaborative arrangements that align with their nationals' and needs and healthcare priorities.
The relationship between Ghana and Grenada exemplifies an excellent model of South-South cooperation. During my productive discussions with Prime Minister Michel earlier today, we mutually agreed on the importance of expanding our collaboration in key areas, particularly those that utilize our comparative advantages for mutual growth. In the health sector, Grenada's interest in recruiting Ghanaian nurses and allied health professionals presents a valuable opportunity for structured collaboration between our two countries. Ghanaian health workers have gained international recognition for their professionalism and their compassion. And we're keen to explore arrangements that address both our national needs and Grenada's health priorities.
Still, President Mahama has expressed concern about the lack of a direct flight linking Ghana and the Caribbean, urging stronger collaboration to address the situation and improve connectivity between the two regions.
However, one significant barrier continues to hinder our cooperation, and that is the lack of direct air connectivity between the Caribbean and Africa. Despite being only 6 hours apart by air travel between our regions can take nearly a full day, often routed through Europe or North America. This limitation restricts the movement of people, goods, and services between the Caribbean and Africa. We must collaborate to change this situation.
Well, Prime Minister Dekan Michel pledged Grenada's full support for Ghana's proposed resolution at the United Nations, stating that his country will gladly associate with, adopt, and back the motion. Ghana plans to introduce a resolution at the United Nations General Assembly to officially declare the transatlantic slave trade as the greatest crime against humanity and to demand reparations for its lasting impact. President Mahama announced this intention during the 80th UN General Assembly session on September 25, 2025.
It's why we in the Caribbean are deeply committed to the issue of reparation. It is not just about economic justice. It is not just about reversing the significant negative legacy of colonization and neo-colonization, and in some cases the imperialism that still continues. But it is first and foremost about our human dignity. So, Your Excellency, I can assure you that Grenada and all of CARICOM stand ready to support this resolution. We stand ready to continue the conversation and the fight for the acknowledgement that slavery, the transatlantic slave trade, is in fact perhaps the worst human crime that has been committed against humanity.
Ghana's growing food security concerns have prompted New Age Agric Solutions Limited, in partnership with its sisters and NGOs, ECG Food, to launch the Made in Green Jurors Contest, a dynamic quiz initiated and unveiled on October 16 to ignite students' passion for agriculture, sustainability, and environmental stewardship. There's more in the following report.
Ghana's food security continues to decline, worsened by farmland degradation from illegal mining. To mark World Food Day 2025, New Age Agric Solutions Limited, in partnership with its sister NGO, ECG Foods, launched the Made in Green Genius Contest, a quiz competition designed to inspire students to value agriculture and sustainability. Junior manager Martin Tete Natijina says the initiative seeks to nurture a greener mindset among young people. He noted that ECG Foods, producers of ECG rice cultivated by Ghanaian women farmers, reflect the company's commitment to strengthening local agriculture and food sustainability.
This year, New Age Agri Solutions Limited and our sister NGO, New Age Academy, and our sister company, ECG Foods, have come together to celebrate this year's World Food Day with our students. So we have actually launched the Maiden, the Green Genius Contest. Here, what we are focused on is we want to provide an opportunity for these young individuals to appreciate agriculture and have greener mentality as they grow in their course of studying. Basically, ECG Foods is a wholly grown Ghanaian food products. We have a lot of food, but we have our flagship, being our ECG rice.
The Chief Executive Officer of New Age Agric Solutions Limited, William Cote, reaffirmed the company's dedication to advancing food education and environmental awareness among students through the Green Genius Initiative.
Well, another thrilling journey to crown Ghana's brightest scientific mind starts on Monday in the 2025 edition of the National Science and Math Quiz. Defending champions Infantipim School has no choice but to prove their victory in 2024 was no fluke. Here is a throwback to their win in this report by Adobia Asare.
2024 champions!
After a decade of hunger, the Infantipim School finally tasted victory last year when they lifted the National Science and Maths Quiz trophy. The win reignited pride across the Butchie community, but that joy has quickly turned into pressure. Because in the NSMQ, winning once is glory, but defending the title is history. The crown that once symbolized triumph now feels heavier with every passing day. Inside their quiz room, the boys push harder, knowing the world is watching to see if they can do what only Presec has done. For coordinator Echo Williams, last year's victory was more than a celebration. It was a statement. But with that statement comes a challenge. He says they are not reinventing the wheel, they are perfecting what already works.
This year, we aren't doing anything really new. It's the same thing, just like training the kids. It's like, let's say, the blast furnace.
It's not easy, but then we know that since God's on our side, we do our best.
The pressure to defend the title is real, but fear, that's no longer part of their vocabulary.
We don't even fear anymore because we know that God is on our side, and through the preparation we've done, we know that this year it's not going to be, we are not going to win by 1 point, but maybe by a big gap or something.
Among those helping the boys prepare are Lawrence and Kenneth, both old students of Infantipim. They've returned to share their experience and guide their juniors, not out of obligation, but out of love for the red and black.
I realize I have more to offer to these kids, and they love.
Well, the preliminary stage of the 2025 National Science and Math Quiz begins on Monday. Do keep your dial here on Joy News to bring you all the fun, the thrills, as well as the disappointments.